welcome to today's deep dive. Whether you are listening to this on a long commute or maybe taking a walk to clear your head.
We're just hiding out in a hotel room somewhere.
Right, exactly. Wherever you are, we have a really highly focused analysis prepared for you today.
We are going to be looking closely at the language of hospitality.
Yeah, the specific linguistic architecture of hotel check-ins. And, the communication strategies you really need to ensure a comfortable stay.
Because it is a strategy. It really is.
It totally is. And our goal today isn't just to list off a bunch of phrases you might use at a reception desk.
Right. No one wants just a vocabulary list.
No. Rather, we are going to deconstruct a specific educational script to really understand the underlying mechanics of what hotel staff are actually asking you.
And we are looking at the psychological state of the traveler during these interactions, too.
Yes, to figure out how to confidently command that exchange so you establish the exact boundaries of your stay.
The hotel lobby arrival is a fascinating sociological space,
Right.
largely because it represents this massive collision of states.
It really is a collision.
You have the traveler who is usually fatigued and physically burdened with luggage. They are transitioning out of a highly stressful transit environment.
Right, the airport or a long drive.
Exactly. And then you have the hotel staff operating in this highly structured, brightly lit procedural environment.
And navigating that friction requires a very specific transactional vocabulary.
Even if you are a seasoned traveler or if you are doing this in a language you are still actively mastering.
Examining this process under a microscope reveals so much about how we establish trust and verify our identity.
And secure resources in a temporary living space.
So to guide this analysis, we're going to be relying on a very specific piece of source material today.
We are looking at an educational script.
Yes, specifically excerpts from episode 04 of our provided text. And this script features an interaction between two characters.
You have Alex, who functions as the guide.
The linguistic anchor, really.
Right. And then Sophia, who is our traveler.
And the context provided for this interaction is absolutely critical to how we analyze the language here.
It changes everything.
It does, because the text notes that Sophia is completely exhausted. In the lore of this script...
This is from the previous installment, right? Episode 03.
Yes, episode 03. She apparently had this massive, heavy dinner.
Oh, wow.
So the adrenaline of whatever travel she undertook has completely evaporated.
The food coma has set in.
Exactly. The script positions her as someone who has zero mental bandwidth left. She simply wants to get to her room and sleep.
That contextual detail regarding her exhaustion and that large dinner is the key to the entire pedagogical approach of the text.
It really grounds the interaction.
It does. It grounds it in a state of cognitive depletion. When you are that tired, you cannot rely on complex improvisational language.
You just don't have the energy for it.
No, you don't have the energy to construct elaborate requests or navigate any kind of conversational ambiguity. You need highly functional, stripped-down, reliable phrases.
You need the conversational equivalent of a master key.
Exactly, a master key. The script provides these precise, efficient linguistic tools because her state of mind demands them.
She requires efficiency above all else.
And the dialogue provided by Alex is engineered specifically to minimize friction and cognitive load.
Which brings us directly to our mission for this deep dive. Our objective today is to slowly, deliberately, and analytically unpack these essential phrases.
We want to look at the exact words she is taught to use.
Right. The words she uses to secure her room key and manage her environment, acting as a shortcut to mastering this real-world scenario for anyone listening.
It is a perfect shortcut.
And a quick pacing note for you regarding how we are going to approach this material today. We are going to take this at a very relaxed, deeply educational pace.
I think that is so important.
It is. We want to thoroughly digest the implications of each phrase. We are examining the mechanics of these interactions without rushing at all.
Taking it at a deliberate pace is really the only way to extract the true value from a text like this.
We are going to dissect the text almost line by line.
Right, because when we slow down the analysis, we stop looking at the phrases as mere vocabulary to be memorized.
We start seeing them as strategic maneuvers.
Exactly. We can observe the precise function of each step in the hotel's operational process.
And how the language chosen by the guest either smoothly aligns with that process or creates unnecessary conversational turbulence.
Turbulence you definitely do not want when you just had a huge dinner and want to sleep.
No, you really don't. So let's establish the opening scene based on the text. The physical arrival.
Walking through the doors.
Yes, the traveler walks up to the reception or the front desk. According to the script, the very first step of this journey begins with a standardized greeting from the hotel staff.
A greeting we have all heard a million times.
Right. The text indicates that the staff member will initiate the exchange with a phrase along the lines of, "Hello, how can I help you?"
Well, hello, how can I help you sounds like an open-ended question of general assistance.
It really isn't, is it?
No, not in the hyper-specific context of a hotel front desk with a newly arrived guest. It is a highly closed transactional prompt.
They aren't asking about your day.
The staff member isn't inquiring about your general well-being at all. They are initiating a formal protocol.
They are waiting for the guest to provide the exact data point needed to unlock the next stage of the hospitality algorithm.
It's the starting gun for the check-in process disguised as polite conversation.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this prompt from the staff leads immediately to the first absolutely crucial concept from the source text.
A concept which centers around one specific word.
Yes, the word reservation. In the script, Alex provides Sophia with the exact formulaic response required to answer the staff's opening question.
What does he instruct her to say?
He tells her to say, "Hi, I have a reservation under the name Sophia."
The architecture of that specific sentence is worth dissecting because of its sheer efficiency.
It is incredibly efficient.
By starting with "I have a reservation," the guest instantly categorizes the interaction for the staff member.
You are immediately defining your status right there.
You are signaling that a prior contract exists between you and the establishment. You are not a walk-in off the street seeking a room.
You are claiming a specific physical space that has theoretically already been allocated to you within their inventory system.
And the second half of that phrase is equally precise.
Yeah, the script doesn't have her say, "I have a reservation for Sophia," or "My reservation is Sophia."
The exact phrasing utilized is "under the name."
Under the name. It is a deeply ingrained spatial metaphor in hospitality language.
It conceptualizes the hotel's digital database as a physical filing cabinet.
Right, your booking with all its associated data, the room type, the length of stay, the rate. It is filed under that specific nomenclature.
That spatial metaphor is a great observation. It aligns the guest's language perfectly with the mental model of the person operating the computer system.
It speaks their language.
Exactly. When you say "under the name," you're effectively giving them the search parameter they need to type into their property management software.
Which minimizes the cognitive translation required by the staff.
Which, in turn, speeds up the transaction for the exhausted guest. The traveler simply slots their own identifier into the formula.
I have a reservation under the name Smith, or under the name Chen.
It is a clean, definitive assertion of identity that triggers the hotel's verification protocols.
And those verification protocols are the immediate next step in the script's progression.
Because once the reservation is located in the system, they need proof.
Right. Alex notes that the staff will request 2 specific items to proceed with the logistics of checking in: an ID and a credit card.
The ID functions as the physical proof of the identity just asserted. You claim the file under the name Sophia.
And now you must prove you are the authorized entity permitted to access that file.
That part is a relatively straightforward security measure.
We are all used to showing ID.
But the secondary requirement, the credit card, that introduces a layer of complexity that often causes friction for travelers.
Especially if the room rate has already been settled prior to arrival.
The credit card request is a fascinating moment of financial friction. The guest often wonders if the room is paid for. Why do you need my financial instrument?
Right. It feels like you're paying twice.
What's fascinating here is how the source text clarifies this by introducing the concept of incidental charges.
The text explicitly defines the purpose of handing over the credit card.
It frames it not as an immediate payment for the room itself, but as a deposit.
The word deposit is crucial there. It reframes the interaction from a purchase to a temporary hold.
And the script provides a very specific, classic example to illustrate what these incidental charges might entail.
The minibar.
The minibar is the perfect pedagogical example for the text to use.
Especially given Sophia's state of exhaustion.
In the hospitality framework, the initial room rate covers the static environment, the bed, the roof, the physical footprint.
But incidental charges represent the dynamic variable costs that a guest might accumulate during their stay.
It is the monetization of convenience.
The hotel places a hold or a deposit on the credit card to essentially pre-authorize a line of credit.
allowing the guest to consume these conveniences without needing to swipe their card for every single transaction.
Right. And returning to the context of Sophia having eaten a massive dinner and being completely drained of energy.
The minibar represents a highly likely scenario for an incidental charge.
She arrives in her room. She doesn't want to go back out. And there is a small refrigerator stocked with beverages and snacks.
The convenience is incredibly high, but so is the cost.
The hotel requires the credit card at check-in as an insurance policy. If she consumes an item from the minibar, the hotel already has the mechanism in place to settle that specific incidental debt upon her departure.
By understanding the underlying logic of the incidental deposit, the traveler is stripped of the anxiety that often accompanies handing over the credit card.
It demystifies the whole process.
It is not a secondary charge for the room. It is simply the establishment of a financial tether that allows for frictionless consumption within the hotel's ecosystem later on.
The script uses the minibar to make a somewhat abstract financial concept incredibly tangible and relatable for you.
So the mechanics of identity verification and financial security have been satisfied.
The reservation is confirmed, the ID is checked, the incidental deposit is secured via the credit card.
At this point in the script, Sophia shifts her focus to an amenity that has become arguably the single most critical element of modern travel.
Yes, she asks, and what about the most important thing? The internet.
This is a brilliant inclusion in the text.
It perfectly captures the hierarchy of needs for a modern, exhausted traveler. The physical bed is assumed, but digital connectivity must be actively secured.
The transition from physical shelter to digital connection is immediate.
For the contemporary traveler, being disconnected in a foreign environment is deeply unsettling.
The room provides physical security, but the internet provides navigational, social, and often professional security.
Therefore, acquiring access to the network is not an afterthought.
It is a primary objective of the check-in process, rivaling the acquisition of the physical room key itself.
The script provides the exact unadorned phrase required to achieve this objective.
Alex advises Sophia to ask the front desk directly.
What is the Wi-Fi password?
It is a purely functional, direct inquiry.
What is particularly interesting is the typical procedural response that the text outlines for this question.
The script notes that the front desk staff rarely just dictates the password verbally.
Instead, Alex points out that the hotel usually provides a small card.
This card is a crucial physical artifact of the check-in process.
The text specifies that this card contains both the room number and the Wi-Fi password.
That detail about the card containing both pieces of information is vital to the reality of the traveler's experience.
Because when you are standing at the desk deeply fatigued like Sophia, your short-term memory is compromised.
If a staff member verbally tells you that your room is 412 and the password is a random string of alphanumeric characters,
there's a high probability you will forget one or both by the time the elevator doors open.
the physical card acts as an external hard drive for your exhausted brain.
Exactly. The bundling of the physical coordinate, the room number, with the digital key, the Wi-Fi password, onto a single piece of paper is a sophisticated piece of hospitality design.
Designed specifically to mitigate traveler fatigue.
By explicitly asking, "What is the Wi-Fi password?" the guest ensures that this crucial piece of documentation is handed over before they leave the desk.
It finalizes the arrival transaction.
Once you have the room number to locate your physical space and the password to establish your digital presence, the primary business of the front desk is concluded.
Having successfully navigated the front desk, secured the physical key, the room number, and the digital password, the narrative of the script moves us forward in time.
We transition from the lethargy of the nighttime arrival to the strategic planning required the following morning.
Text notes a specific detail about Sophia.
She mentions that she's always hungry in the morning.
This detail, juxtaposed with the heavy dinner from the night before, sets up the next crucial phase of hotel navigation.
The breakfast logistics.
The hotel breakfast occupies a unique space in the travel experience.
It represents the bridge between the passive state of resting in the room and the active state of engaging with the day's itinerary.
However, unlike the bed or the shower, the breakfast is not a guaranteed standardized inclusion.
The parameters surrounding it vary wildly depending on the specific contract of your reservation.
Navigating those parameters requires highly specific inquiries to avoid disruption or unexpected expenses.
Our source material distills this navigation down to two fundamental questions.
The first question Alex provides to Sophia is breakfast included in my stay?
This phrasing is incredibly important because it seeks to establish a firm financial boundary.
It addresses the ambiguity of the hospitality product.
The phrase included in my stay is the operative mechanism here.
The traveler is asking the hotel to define the exact scope of the product they have purchased.
Sometimes a booking rate bundles the overnight accommodation with the morning meal as a single indivisible package.
In other instances, the room rate strictly covers the physical space, and the dining facilities operate as entirely separate, distinct commercial entities within the building.
If a guest makes an assumption and consumes breakfast without clarifying this boundary, they risk a significant unplanned financial hit upon checkout.
The direct inquiry, is breakfast included in my stay, forces the hotel to explicitly state whether the meal is a subsidized amenity or an independent incidental charge.
It's a protective phrase.
Right.
It prevents the friction of a disputed bill later on.
Once the financial reality is established, whether it is included or whether the guest chooses to pay for it independently.
The script introduces the second necessary question. What time is breakfast served?
If the first question establishes the financial boundary, the second establishes the temporal boundary.
A hotel operates on strict logistical schedules.
The kitchen must prepare, serve, and eventually break down the breakfast service to prepare for lunch or to simply clean the space.
The service is not infinite.
By asking what time is breakfast served, the guest is gathering the data required to structure their own morning.
It dictates when you must wake up, when you must be dressed, and when you must navigate to the dining area.
If the service ends at 10 a.m. and you arrive at 10:15 expecting a full buffet, the temporal boundary has been crossed and the service will be denied.
Gathering this temporal data allows the guest to align their personal schedule with the operational reality of the hotel.
And it is worth noting that this inquiry is entirely detached from the financial question.
Even if breakfast is not included and you intend to pay out of pocket, you still must adhere to the temporal constraints of the kitchen.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the script uses the morning routine and the desire for breakfast to transition into a much broader categorization of the hotel's offerings.
Sophia expands her inquiries beyond just food. She asks, and if I want to go swimming or exercise?
This brings us to a major conceptual term in the source text, amenities.
The word amenities is ubiquitous in travel literature, marketing materials, and booking platforms.
It is the defining metric by which properties differentiate themselves.
However, it can sometimes feel like vague industry jargon to the consumer.
What is highly effective about the source script is how it completely demystifies the term.
Alex provides Sophia with a remarkably clear functional definition. He states that amenities is simply a fancy word for hotel facilities.
That definition strips away the marketing gloss. A fancy word for hotel facilities.
It grounds the concept in physical reality. We are no longer talking about abstract concepts of luxury.
We are talking about concrete, accessible spaces within the building that exist to enhance the guest's physical experience beyond merely sleeping.
The text highlights two universally recognized examples of these facilities, the gym and the swimming pool.
The gym and the pool represent the physical expansion of the guest's rented territory.
When you book a room, your primary domain is the square footage behind your numbered door.
But the amenities represent shared domains that you have temporary rights to access.
They are the value adds that transform a building from a mere dormitory into a comprehensive leisure or wellness environment.
However, possessing the right to access these spaces is useless without possessing the logistical data required to utilize them.
Exactly. You can't use a pool if you don't know where it is.
To solve this, the script provides the necessary logistical phrasing.
The guest must ask the front desk, where is the gym or the swimming pool?
And mirroring the logic of the breakfast inquiry, they must also ask, what are the opening hours?
We return again to the spatial and temporal boundaries. Hotels are often complex multi-level structures.
The spatial inquiry, where is the gym, is a request for physical coordinates.
Is it in the basement? Is it on the roof? Is it in a separate adjacent building?
Securing this information prevents the frustrating experience of wandering unfamiliar corridors in workout attire.
And the temporal inquiry, what are the opening hours, is crucial because unlike your private room, which is accessible, 24/7 amenities operate on schedules.
Schedules dictated by staffing, cleaning protocols, and noise ordinances.
The pool might close at 9 p.m. to prevent noise from disturbing guests in adjacent rooms.
The gym might require a keycard access that is only activated between 5 a.m. and midnight.
By mastering these inquiries, asking about the inclusion of breakfast, establishing the location of the pool, defining the operational hours of the gym, the guest fundamentally changes their relationship with the hotel.
They move from being a passive occupant of a single room to an active navigator of the entire facility.
They extract the maximum intended value from the environment because they have confidently communicated their desire to utilize the full scope of what the property offers.
That active navigation is key to a successful stay.
We have explored the mechanics of checking in, securing digital access, managing morning meals, and locating the physical amenities.
But the source text does not stop at outlining a perfect, frictionless experience.
It acknowledges that the hotel environment, being a complex physical system, is prone to failure.
The third major section of the script deals entirely with troubleshooting, anticipating the moment when the physical space does not align with the guest's needs.
The text introduces a highly specific, relatable, hypothetical scenario to illustrate this point.
Alex asks Sophia to imagine a situation where she arrives in her assigned room, but the temperature is uncomfortable. Specifically, the room is too cold.
This is a classic point of vulnerability for a traveler.
You have crossed the threshold into what is supposed to be your private sanctuary, only to find that the environmental controls are either unintuitive, locked out by the hotel's central system, or mechanically failing.
It is a moment of environmental dissonance.
The guest is fatigued, seeking comfort, and the room is actively hostile to that comfort.
The natural inclination for some travelers, especially those unsure of the language or the social protocol, might be to simply endure the discomfort.
To put on a sweater or use an extra blanket rather than initiate a confrontation.
But the script explicitly guides the guest away from passive endurance.
The prescribed solution is to actively utilize the communication network of the hotel. Pick up the phone and call the front desk.
The phrasing provided by the text for this interaction is a masterclass in polite assertion.
The script outlines two variations. The first is, the air conditioning is not working.
The second is simply, the room is too cold. Let's examine the mechanics of these sentences.
The preface, acts as a vital linguistic buffer.
It signals politeness and respect for the staff member's time, establishing a cooperative tone before delivering the core issue, which is essentially a complaint.
The delivery of the complaint itself is striking in its directness. The air conditioning is not working, or the room is too cold.
The guest is not asking how to fix the air conditioning. They're not asking for a tutorial on the thermostat.
They are simply stating an objective fact about the failure of the environment.
That is the crucial distinction in hospitality troubleshooting.
By stating the problem objectively, the guest implicitly shifts the burden of resolution entirely onto the hotel staff.
The contract of the reservation implies a habitable environment.
By stating the room is too cold, the guest highlights a breach of that contract, which obligates the service provider to remedy the situation.
The hotel must decide the logistics of the solution, whether that involves dispatching a maintenance engineer, providing a portable heater, or executing a room change.
The guest's only responsibility is the clear, polite communication of the failure.
The script extends this concept of troubleshooting beyond just mechanical failures to encompass basic physical needs.
What if the environment isn't broken but merely insufficiently supplied?
The text provides another highly practical example, giving the guest the language needed to request basic necessities.
The provided phrase is, "Could you send up some extra towels, please?"
The spatial mechanics embedded in that request are fascinating.
The use of the phrase "send up" acknowledges the vertical hierarchy and the geographic separation inherent in a hotel structure.
The guest is positioned above in the private, isolated space of the room, while the front desk operates below in the public logistical hub of the lobby.
"Could you send up" is the verbal mechanism by which resources are transported from the logistical hub to the isolated sanctuary.
It is a universally applicable structure. Could you send up extra towels? Could you send up more coffee? Could you send up an iron?
It leverages the hotel's internal delivery system without requiring the guests to abandon their room.
And speaking of utilizing the hotel's internal delivery system to maintain the isolation of the room, the source text introduces what it positions as the ultimate indulgence for the exhausted traveler.
Yes, the script addresses a specific psychological state that occurs when the physical toll of travel completely overwhelms the desire to explore.
Sophia articulates this state perfectly when she notes she might be too lazy to go out for food.
This is a profound moment of travel reality.
The friction of navigating a foreign city, finding a restaurant, dealing with menus and transportation becomes an insurmountable barrier.
To solve this specific problem of localized lethargy, the text introduces our third essential concept: room service.
Room service represents the absolute pinnacle of hospitality convenience.
It is the monetization of isolation. You are requesting that the hotel not only prepare a meal, but also manage the complete logistics of delivering a restaurant-tier experience directly across the threshold of your private environment.
The procedure for initiating this service, as outlined by Alex in the script, is designed to be as frictionless as possible.
The physical effort is reduced to picking up the phone.
The linguistic effort is similarly minimized. The text provides the exact imperative sentence required. I'd like to order room service, please.
It is a statement of intent. I'd like to order. It initiates a secondary transaction within the broader context of the stay.
Once that intent is communicated, the operational machinery of the hotel takes over.
As Alex explicitly notes in the text, the result of this simple phrase is that they will bring the food straight to your door.
Straight to your door. That is the defining value proposition of room service.
It requires zero physical transition on the part of the guest.
You remain in your comfortable state, and the sustenance is brought to you.
It is the ultimate antidote to the exhaustion Sophia was experiencing at the beginning of the text.
And yet, as with all temporary systems, the stay must eventually conclude.
The script having guided us through arrival, the securing of digital access, the navigation of morning routines, the utilization of amenities, the troubleshooting of the environment, and the ultimate convenience of room service must finally address the departure.
It provides the linguistic bookend to the entire experience.
When the time comes to relinquish the physical space, the guest must return to the front desk and state, "I'd like to check out, please."
That phrase, "I'd like to check out, please," mirrors the opening phrase, "I have a reservation."
It is the closing bracket of the transactional equation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is genuinely remarkable to observe the psychological and functional arc that the traveler undergoes within this short educational script.
We began with a portrait of Sophia in episode 03 and the beginning of episode 04. Deeply exhausted, weighed down by a heavy dinner, and facing the daunting prospect of navigating a structured social and financial transaction just to get to sleep.
She was vulnerable to the friction of the environment.
But through the methodical application of these specific targeted phrases, the narrative completely shifts.
By mastering the language required to assert a reservation, to demand the Wi-Fi password, to establish the boundaries of breakfast, to locate the amenities, to mandate troubleshooting, and to summon room service, the guest fundamentally alters their position of power within the hotel.
The transformation is explicitly stated in the text itself.
By the end of the script, after absorbing these linguistic tools, Sophia declares, "I'm ready for my vacation now. I feel like a VIP."
That transition from exhausted traveler to VIP is the core thesis of the source material.
Feeling like a very important person in a hospitality setting is rarely about actual fame or unlimited wealth.
It is almost entirely a byproduct of feeling in control of your environment.
The friction of travel is removed not by magic, but by clear, concise, confident communication.
The guest who knows exactly how to interface with the machinery of the hotel experiences a smooth, customized stay, while the guest who lacks that vocabulary remains subject to confusion and unmet needs.
So what does this all mean? It means that the vocabulary of hospitality is not just about being polite. It is a functional toolset for environmental control.
And the source text we are analyzing doesn't just present this tool set in a vacuum, it actively challenges the audience to envision applying it.
The script concludes with a specific homework assignment directed at the listener, which serves as a fascinating psychological exercise that we want to pass directly on to you.
The text poses a direct question. If you could stay in any hotel in the world, which city would it be in?
It is an exercise in projecting the confidence you've just learned into an idealized scenario.
If you possess the linguistic mastery to effortlessly claim your reservation, to command room service, to confidently address any environmental failures without anxiety, where would you choose to deploy those skills?
The source text actively encourages its audience to engage with this hypothetical, asking listeners to tell us in the comments.
It seeks to validate the ambition of travel and to build a community around the shared desire for a frictionless, luxurious experience.
So we encourage you to deeply consider this. Mentally leave it in the comments for us.
Where is the front desk of your dreams located?
Is it in a high-rise in Tokyo? A historic building in Paris? A resort in the Maldives?
The pedagogical value of this homework assignment is quite high. By visualizing the ultimate destination, the mechanics of the language become contextualized.
You are no longer just analyzing the phrase, "I have a reservation." You are rehearsing the moment you say it in the lobby of your dream destination.
It grounds the theoretical language in a deeply personal, aspirational reality.
It provides the motivation to master the mechanics, The script closes with a warm sign-off from the characters, which reinforces the supportive educational nature of the text.
Alex says, "Sweet dreams and keep practicing," acknowledging both the initial exhaustion of the traveler and the ongoing effort required to master the language.
Sophia adds, "See you at the hotel." We want to echo that encouragement for you.
Continue to analyze and practice these core concepts.
The mechanics of the reservation, the logic of incidental charges, the necessity of the Wi-Fi password,
The geography of amenities, the protocols of troubleshooting, and the luxury of room service.
This raises an important question, however, one that I believe serves as the ultimate distillation of our analysis today.
The script demonstrates how acquiring a specific set of phrases allowed Sophia to transition from feeling overwhelmed to feeling like a VIP.
It forces us to consider a deeper philosophical point regarding travel.
How much of our experience of luxury and our overall satisfaction with a journey is actually determined by the objective quality of the physical spaces we rent versus our subjective ability to confidently articulate and secure our needs within those spaces?
A beautifully appointed, expensive hotel room can still generate immense stress if the guest feels incapable of calling the front desk to correct a failing air conditioner.
True luxury, as suggested by the subtext of this script, is perhaps not found in the thread count of the sheets,
but in the absolute confidence to command your environment through the precise application of language.
That is a profound perspective to conclude our analysis on, the luxury of effective communication.
The power of the exact right phrase to unlock the full potential of a space. Thank you for joining us on this intensive deconstruction of the hospitality transaction.
Keep visualizing those dream destinations.
Keep analyzing the language you use to navigate the world. And we will be here to unpack the next text with you. Catch you next time.